everyone, welcome to the channel Tunes from NCERT. So our today's topic of discussion is Phylum Chordata. So let's start. The animals that belong to the phylum Chordata are fundamentally characterized by the presence of notochord and a dorsal hollow nerve cord and a paired pharyngeal gill slits. So these are the three characteristic features of the organisms which come under the phylum Chordata. So the features include the presence of a notochord, a dorsal hollow nerve cord, and a paired pharyngeal gill slits. So the organisms that come under the phylum Chordata, these are bilaterally symmetrical, triploblastic, coelomates with organ system level of organization. They possess a post-anal tail and a circulatory system that is of closed type. So this diagram is of a chordata. This is the nerve cord, this is the notochord, this is the post-anal tail, and these are the pharyngeal gill slits. So this is a comparison of the organisms. Those are chordates and non-chordates. So the difference between them is that notochord is present in chordates and notochord is absent in non-chordates. Central nervous system is dorsal, hollow and single in chordates. The central nervous system is ventral, solid and double in case of non-chordates. Pharynx is perforated by the gill slits as you can see in this diagram. The gill slits are absent in non-chordates. Heart is ventral in chordates and heart is dorsal in non-chordates if heart is present in that organism. Post-anal tail is present in chordates and post-anal tail is absent in non-chordates. So these differences are very important. Many a times question is framed on this difference between the chordates and the non-chordates. Next comes the classification under the phylum Chordata. The phylum Chordata is divided into three subphyla, that is the Urochordata or the Tunicata, the Cephalochordata and the Vertebrata. So the first subphylum is the Urochordata, second is the Cephalochordata and third is the Vertebrata. The other name for Urochordata is Tunicata. So the subphylum Urochordata and Cephalochordata are often referred to as protochordates, this you have to remember, and are exclusively marine, that is they live only in marine water and they are not found in fresh water. In Urochordata, notochord is present only in the larval tail, while in Cephalochordata it extends from the head to the tail region and is persistent throughout their life. This is a very important line about the presence of the notochord in these two subphyla of the phylum Chordata. Notochord is present in the larval tail in Urochordata, and in Cephalochordata it extends from the head to the tail and is persistent throughout their life. So the examples that come under the subphyla Urochordata are the Ascidia, Salpa and Doliolum. Examples that come under the subphylum Cephalochordata are the Branchiostoma or the Amphioxus or the Lancelet. So the members of the subphyla Vertebrata possess notochord during the embryonic period. The notochord is replaced by the cartilaginous or the bony vertebral column in adults. This is very important. That at what time the notochord is present? The notochord is present during the embryonic period. And what happens to the notochord after the birth? It is replaced by the cartilaginous or the bony vertebral column in the adults. So, all the vertebrates are chordates, but all chordates are not vertebrates. This line is very important. So, besides the basic chordate characters, vertebrates have a ventral muscular heart with 2, 3 or 4 chambers, kidneys for excretion and osmoregulation, and paired appendages which may be fins or limbs. So this paragraph is very important. This you have to remember. Next comes, this is the classification of the phylum Chordata. So the phylum Chordata is divided into three subphyla, that is the Urochordata, Cephalochordata and the Vertebrata. So this Vertebrata is again divided into two divisions, that are the Agnatha that is the organisms which lack jaws, and the Gnethostoma, that is the organisms which bears jaws. So there is only one class under division Agnatha, that is the class Cyclostomata. Further, the division Gnethostoma is divided into two superclasses, that is the Pisces, which bears fins, and Tetrapoda, that is the organisms which bear limbs. So the classes that come under the superclass Pisces are class Chondrichthyes and class Osteichthyes, and the classes that come under Tetrapoda are Amphibia, Reptilia, Aves, and Mammals. So now we will study about the class Cyclostomata. This class Cyclostomata comes under the division Echinathia. So these are the jawless fishes. These fishes lack jaws. So all the living members of the class Cyclostomata are ectoparasites on some fishes. This is very important word, ectoparasites. They have an elongated body bearing 6 to 15 pairs of gill slits for respiration. This is also very important. The number of pairs of the gill slits present for respiration in the class Cyclostomata, that is the 6 to 15 pairs. Cyclostomes have a sucking and circular mouth without jaws. The body is devoid of scales and paired fins. Cranium and vertebral column are cartilaginous. This is not bony, this is cartilaginous. Circulation is of closed type. Cyclostomes are marine but migrate for spawning to the fresh water. This you have to remember. Sometimes it is exchanged that there must be written that is the cyclostomes are fresh water but migrate for spawning to the marine water. So this statement would be wrong. So after spawning within a few days, the organisms die. Their larvae after metamorphosis return to the ocean. So this is very important. The examples of the class Cyclostomata includes Petromyzon, that is lamprey, and Myxine, that is the hagfish. So these common names you have to remember along with the scientific names. Next we come on to the class Chondrichthyes. So these organisms are marine animals with a streamlined body, and they have a cartilaginous endoskeleton. This you have to remember that the endoskeleton is cartilaginous. Mouth is located ventrally and not dorsally. This term you have to remember. Notochord is persistent throughout the life. Gill slits are separate without operculum. This is very important. The organisms of class Chondrichthyes do not have operculum. Operculum is a gill cover, so that is not present in this class. Skin is tough, containing minute placoid scales. Teeth are modified placoid scales which are backwardly directed. This is very important. Backwardly directed teeth they have. Their jaws are very powerful. These animals are predaceous, that is, they are predators. Due to the absence of the air bladder, they have to swim constantly to avoid sinking. This is very important class. So the heart in the class Chondrichthyes is two-chambered, that is, they have one auricle and one ventricle. Some of the organisms have electrical organs like the torpedo, and some organisms possess a poison sting, that is the trigon. These organisms are cold-blooded, that is the poikilothermous animals. They lack the capacity to regulate their body temperature. So this is the meaning of poikilothermous. Sexes are separate. In males, pelvic fins bear claspers. This you have to remember is they have internal fertilization, and many of them are viviparous. So the examples of the class Chondrichthyes include Squalodon, that is the dogfish, Pristis, that is the sawfish, Carcharodon, that is the grey-white shark, and Trigon, that is the staring. So next comes the class Osteichthyes. So the class Osteichthyes include bony fishes. In this class, the organisms are both marine and freshwater with a bony endoskeleton. So these are known as bony fishes. Their body is streamlined, mouth is mostly terminal. So I hope you must have remembered that in case of class Chondrichthyes, the organisms had ventral mouth, but here the mouth is terminal. So they have four parts of gills which are covered by an operculum on each side. So in the class Chondrichthyes, there was no operculum present. So the skin is covered with cycloid or ctenoid scales. In that case, placoid scales were present. Air bladder is present, which regulates the buoyancy. In the class Chondritis, air bladder is also absent. The heart is two-chambered, that is one auricle and one ventricle. So they are cold-blooded animals, that is they are poikilotherms. Sexes are separate. Fertilization is external. They are mostly oviparous, that is they lay eggs, and the development is direct. So that means they have no larval stage in between. So the examples of class Osteichthyes include marine organisms, that are the Exocetus, that is flying fish, hippocampus, that is the seahorse, and the freshwater organisms are labio, that is rohu, katla, the common name is also katla, but here K is present in the common name and here C is present in the scientific name, Clarius, that is magur, and the fishes that live in aquarium, those include betta fish, that is the fighting fish, and pterophyllum, that is the angelfish. So next we come on to the class Amphibia. First of all, what is the meaning of Amphibia? Amphi is a Greek word that means dual and bios means life. So this means that Amphibia has dual life. Amphibians, as they can live both in aquatic environment and as well as at the terrestrial habitats. So that's why they are known as amphibians. Most of them has two pairs of limbs. Body is divisible into head and trunk. This you have to remember. Tail may be present in some organisms of class Amphibia. The amphibian skin is moist without scales. This is very, very important that scales are not present on the body of amphibians. The eyes have eyelids. A tympanic membrane or tympanum represents the ear in the case of class Amphibia. Alimentary canal, urinary and reproductive tracts open into a common chamber that is known as cloaca, which opens to the exterior. This is a very, very important point. What is cloaca? Cloaca is a common chamber into which the alimentary canal, the urinary tract and the reproductive tracts open. So this is known as cloaca. Respiration is by gills, lungs and through the skin. The heart is three-chambered. So this is the first class which has three-chambered heart. Rest classes had only two-chambered hearts. So here two auricles and one ventricle is present. In the previous cases there were two chambers and with one auricle and one ventricle. So these organisms are also cold-blooded, that is the poikilotherms. Sexes are separate here as in the case of previous organisms. Fertilization is external. These are oviparous organisms. Oviparous means that they lay eggs, and development is indirect, that is they have a larval stage in between. So the examples of the class Amphibia include Bufo, that is toad, Rana, that is known as a frog, Hyla, that is known as tree frog, Salamandra, that is known as salamander, Ichthyophis, that is known as limbless amphibian. This is very, very important. So next we come on to the class Reptilia. So the class name refers to their creeping or crawling mode of locomotion. In Latin, reper or reptum means to creep or crawl. So they are mostly terrestrial animals. Their body is covered by dry and cornified skin, epidermal scales or scutes. This you have to remember what type of scales are present. Epidermal scales are present. Sometimes in the questions there is written dermal scales, so that statement would be wrong. So this you have to remember that they have epidermal scales. They do not have external ear openings. So here also in these cases tympanum is present that acts as ear. Limbs when present are two pairs. Heart is usually three-chambered as in case of the class Amphibia. But four-chambered heart is present in crocodiles. This is an exception of this class. Reptiles are poikilotherms, that is they have cold blood. Snakes and lizards shed their scales as skin cast. This is an important characteristic. Sexes are separate. Fertilization is internal. They are oviparous, that is they lay eggs, and development is direct. So the examples of this class includes Chelone, that is turtle, Testudo, that is the tortoise, Chameleon, that is the tree lizard, Calotes, that is the garden lizard, Crocodilus, that is the crocodile, alligator, that is the alligator, Hemidactylus, that is the wall lizard. Poisonous snakes may include Naja, that is the cobra, Bamburus, that is crate, and Vipera, that is the viper. So next we come on to the class Aves. So in the class Aves, the characteristic feature of Aves, that is the birds, are the presence of feathers, and most of them can fly except the flightless birds, that is the ostrich. This you have to remember, that ostrich is a flightless bird that cannot fly. They possess a beak. This is a characteristic feature of the class Aves. The forelimbs are modified into the wings. Hind limbs generally have scales. This is very important. No forelimbs and no other types of limbs have scales. These are only the hind limbs that have scales. And these are modified for walking, swimming, or clasping the tree branches. Skin of the class Aves is dry without glands, but oil gland is present at the base of the tail. This is very important, and many a times this point is included in MCQs. Endoskeleton is fully ossified, that is they have a bony endoskeleton and not a cartilaginous endoskeleton. And the long bones are hollow with air cavities, so these are known as pneumatic bones. The digestive tract of birds has additional chambers, that is the crop and the gizzard. This is very important. Heart is completely four-chambered. So this is the first class under the phylum Chordata that has four-chambered heart. These are warm-blooded animals, that is they are the homeothermous animals. So what is the meaning of homeothermous here? They are able to maintain a constant body temperature. This is a good characteristic feature. So respiration of the class Aves is through lungs. So the air sacs that are connected to the lungs, they supplement respiration in case of class Aves. Sexes are separate. Fertilization is internal. They are oviparous, that is they lay eggs. Development is direct, that is they don't have any larval stages in between. They are developmental stages. So the examples of class Aves includes Corvus, that is the crow, Columbia, that is the pigeon, Citicula, that is the parrot, Struthio, that is the ostrich, Pavo, that is the peacock, Aptenodytes, that is the penguin, Nephron, that is the vulture. So these all names you have to remember, as many times question is framed on these examples in the NEET exam. So last and the final class that comes under the phylum Chordata is the class Mammalia. So the class Mammalia, the organisms of class Mammalia are found in a variety of habitats. They are found in polar ice caps, they can be found in deserts, they can be found in mountains, forest, grasslands, and dark caves. So some of them have adapted to fly, or some of them have adapted to live in water. So the most unique mammalian characteristic is the presence of milk producing glands, that is the mammary glands, by which the young ones are nourished. It is a very important and unique feature, most unique feature of class Mammalia is the mammary glands. So they have two pairs of limbs. Those are adapted for walking, running, climbing, burrowing, swimming, or flying. So the skin of class Mammalia is unique in possessing hair, external ears or pinna. The external ear is also known as pinna. They are present in case of class Mammalia. Different types of teeth are present in the jaws. Heart is four-chambered. They are homeothermous, that is they are warm-blooded organisms. Respiration is by lungs. Sexes are separate. Fertilization is internal. They are viviparous organisms with few exceptions. This is very important. Most of the organisms that come under the class Mammalia are viviparous, but some are oviparous also. I'll tell you. And development is direct, that is no larval stage is present. So the examples of class Mammalia include the oviparous mammal, that is the Ornithorhynchus, that is known as a platypus. So this is a very important example and a very important exception of this class. The rest all the organisms are viviparous, that is the macropus or the kangaroo. Pteropus, that is the flying fox. Camelus, that is the camel. Macaca, that is the monkey. Rattus, that is the rat. Canis is dog. Felis is cat. Elephas is elephant. Equus is horse. Delphinus is common dolphin. Blenoptera is the blue whale, and Panthera tigris is tiger, and Panthera leo is lion. So this was all about this lecture. So the topic of animal kingdom is now complete. You can watch the videos that are uploaded in the playlist named Animal Kingdom. The whole of the animal kingdom is included there. I hope you must have liked the video. Do share my videos to your friends and also subscribe to this channel for more NEET related videos and topics. You can also comment in the comment section that which topic do you need next. I'll try to upload that topic as early as possible. Also follow my page on Instagram, that is Tunes from NCERT. There we have a quiz on the daily basis, so you can participate in that quiz for better understanding and knowledge. Thanks for watching.